Hi, I'm Sam, the old car lady. Welcome along to the Wheels and Deals podcast. So lately, we've been looking at the Manchester motor trade, and I thought it was time we headed down to London to see how they did things down there. And trust me, this one is brilliant. Today, I'm with Honest John, and if you think you knew how it was done in the 70s, you might be surprised, or maybe not. So from bugging cars, keeping spare keys after selling the motors in case he had to go and get them back, selling Rollses to Arabs and buying Sid James's actual shadow, to ending up in court for throwing a bucket of water over a traffic warden. This is proper old school motor trading, unfiltered, almost unbelievable and completely fascinating. So buckle up and welcome to the 70s.
Love cars, and you were just going to the pictures asking if you could clean them.
Yeah, see, they need a little car cleaner. I was that small, well, I didn't even go over the top of the bonnet. But anyway, they took a liking to me and I got a job as a car cleaner.
How old were you?
I was only about 10 years of age.
And when was this?
I was born in 1944, so we're talking 50s, late 50s.
Okay.
When there was cars were only two colours, black and green, black and white.
So how did you go from cleaning cars as a kid to dealing?
I was watching the motor dealers, how they worked. I was taking everything in, the profits, where they used to buy them. And I was really watching every move they made because I wanted to be a car dealer myself. So you got to start at the bottom, which I did start at the bottom. And next thing I know, that as the years went past, I grew up. And then next thing I know, I'm buying little old bangers in them days for about £30. And I was cleaning them up with me little schoolmates. And I was putting them outside of my house for sale. And I always remember it. People would say to me, you're a bit young for selling cars, ain't you? And I'd go, well, my dad's just died and we got to sell our car so we can get some money to bury him. And it used to work. And people used to buy the car, no problem, give me a bit more money. It didn't last a long time because people used to
How
say...
many times did you bury your dad then based on that?
That's what I'm saying. It didn't work. It lasted about a month and then people would go to me, how many dates you got? But that was the cunning little brain I had at the time.
So when you said you wanted to be a dealer because you were watching the blokes that were dealing, what about them made you want to be a dealer?
Well, it's the money. They was all driving about in big fancy cars and big houses. And I love cars. I just love motor cars. And that's the avenue I wanted to take. And I did take it and I've done well out of it.
Selling them outside your house?
I used to buy little old cars. I used to look at the exchange of mark in them days because we didn't have computers and all the phones. And I'd go on the old exchange of mark. And one thing I learned about the exchange of mark was that the time they put it in, I had to leave them alone for a couple of weeks because when they put their advert in, they thought the world wanted their car. So I'd let them stew for about a couple of weeks and then I'd phone them up and say, look, this car you've had it on a couple of weeks, you haven't sold it. And I'd bid them a price on it. And they go, oh, I don't know about that, mate. But anyway, in the end, they'd say, go on then, you can have it, like 50 quid, 75 quid, what it was in them days. And I'd scrimped a bit of that money together. And I'd go round there and get me motor. Didn't have a licence. I was still too young because I was only about 14, 15 when I was driving motor cars about. But I got by. And I remember this, the old glasses guide in the old days. You don't see these about.
That's an early one. I've still got boxes full of them. I've still got boxes full of them.
This is what your dad
When's that dated?
This one's 1990, isn't it? Yeah, that's 1990, and it's got the commercial one and all that. But we used to carry that about in the auctions with a big old telephone as big as me. And they had only one ringtone then. And when that ringtone went, the auctions, they all go, because they all thought he was for them, because we said we only had one ringtone. As life went on, I got a bit older, I got a bit more wiser in the motor trade and saved up enough money to get myself a little car front. And a lot of dealers used to say to me, John, how do you sell so many cars? And I said, it's my personality. People used to take me under their wing. But I had a little secret, and I used to put a little bug underneath the seat of the car, and I'd go in my office and I put VHS on it and tune in, and I could hear everything they're saying. Like, how much do you reckon they give us for the part exchange? Do they need HP? Did they like me? A lot of them didn't like me. I didn't care about that. You don't cut your nose off, bite your face. Anyway, some of them, when they come in the office, I wanted to bash them, slagging me off. But anyway, I knew everything about what they wanted. And say if they wanted, I had £1,500 in the car, because I'd like to earn £1,000 out of a motor car profit. So if I had 15 in, I could write off a £500 note. So I bid them £500. They probably only wanted £200 or £300 for the car, because I'd hear them say, "Oh, do you reckon you give us £200 for the car?" Now I'm missing into all this. So when they come in the office, I talk to them about other things, slowly getting to the car, as wife and as doors and whatever, talk about anything else but the car and about his job, etc. And then I'd slowly make my way into the Part X, and I'll go, "Oh, the car, you've got a car outside, I suppose you want to put that in Part X." And they go to me, "Oh, yeah." And I'll go, "That car's your world, so you probably want every penny you can get." And I don't blame you. And like my car, I'm trying to get as much as I can. And they go, "Yeah." So it's bashing him on the leg kind of thing. "Do you think he gives us the £200? And I'll go, "The best I could do, my friend, I'll give you £500 for your motor car." Bang, that's done it, isn't it? They think I'm a madman. And the motor dealer's going to give us more than we want. And they do. I'll sign them up, and then I'll talk me into a bit of HP, because I always get a bit of commission out of the HP. But I'd sign them up with HP even if they didn't want it, because I'll explain to them, why use your money when you can use an HP? I said, "Do you smoke, love?" And she goes, "Yeah." Well, paying the cigarettes, I don't know, in them days, was like, I don't know, 30 pence to plug it up. And I go, the interest on that bit of money is about 15p a day. But if you work that out over the years, it worked out a lot of money. And they go, "Cool, yeah, I wouldn't miss that, John, 15p a day." Bang, I've got them on that, and I'll sign them up on that, etc. Lovely, job done. Bang, ding dong, next one. And then people come in the office, and I'll go, "Look, I don't need cash, give me a cheque." Now, no motor dealer takes a cheque. No way. Any of these motor dealers watching this will say, "God, he takes a cheque." No way, because if you take a cheque, they've got 3 days to stop it, and they always find something wrong with it, any excuse to stop that cheque.
We take the cheque, but you couldn't pick the car up until the cheque had cleared.
Yeah, I'll take the cheque and basically pick the car up at 5 o'clock, because I want my mechanic to go over it and make double sure it's perfect, because there's nothing worse. Go out there in the morning, try to start the car, and you've got that old you don't need that, my friend. And you're such lovely people. I like you, and I do not want you to suffer that in the morning, because, as I said, there's nothing worse going out to go to work, can't start the car. So what I say, pick the car at 5 o'clock. Now, the cheque. What you do, you pay the cheque straight into his bank. That's NatWest. You take your cheque and your paying slip straight into his bank. And that means you cut out my bank, you cut out the clearing banks, you go straight to his bank. Now, they've got up to 3:30 to either honour that cheque or bounce that cheque. He's got up to 3:30 to pay the money in to cover that cheque, etc. So then I'll get my bank to phone the providing bank to see if it's clear. And they'll phone me back and say, "Yes, John, that's cleared, no problem. All gone, you can't do nothing now. I've cleared his cheque." No. Got me? So he's under the impression that he's got 3 days with that cheque, because they love that. Because when you say that, it gives them a little bit of security. Anyway, the cheque's cleared. That's it. Can't do nothing about it. I've got his cheques cleared. Take the motor, he's away. Next day, his wife don't like it. His wife don't like it. Nothing wrong with the car, but his wife don't. Oh, the dog don't like the colour. "Oh, John, I'm going to have to stop the cheque and I'll return your car." "Oh, that's okay. No problem. No problem. No, I'm acting silly here." Anyway, next thing I know, "Hello, John. Yeah? That cheque I've given you, it's been cleared." "No. What do you mean it's cleared?" He said, "Yeah, I'll phone my bank to stop it." And I said, "They can't stop it. It's all really clear." I said, "That's a good one on me." I said, "God, it's never I'm lucky here, am I?" I said, "No, I can't have the car back, mate." I said, "Not for them excuses, like your car, your wife don't like it, etc. that was it. I dealt, and he bought the car. And another thing I used to do, when I used to buy a car, straight away take it off the lot and hide it, because they'd always come back in the evening with their mates to show them the car. They're proud of the car, they love the car, but their mates will find something wrong. Look, there's a little dent here. There's a little dent. Oh, I'll never see that here, go. Because he's all hyped up. He will describe that car as the most beautiful car in the world. But his mates are going to be a little bit envious, a little bit jealous, and they're trying to talk him out of it because of that. But no, that don't work, because I'll quick the car up. Next, where's the car? Shall I come down? No, mate, I put it away, cleaned it all up, and it was so shiny, I didn't want to get dusty. But so when you come down to pick it up, it was glittering. And these used to work. But as time went on, I'd go from 6 cars and etc. up to 10 car site with a showroom, etc. Cars went a bit dearer, a bit nicer. Full Cortinas, Mark V's was my killer, because I used to go to Brent car auctions and I'd give £1,000 for them and I'd mark them up at £2,000. So I was nicking £1,000 on a car, and I'd average on a worst week about 5 cars a week, so £5,000. But after I paid me bit of the inland revenue, me bit of tax and me bit of VAT and all that, because you had to keep your books right, I still end up with about just under £4,000. So I was happy with that.
That's a lot of money in the 70s.
Well, it was a lot of money, but as I said to one, I had all the tricks that people would say, "Oh, go down and see John. He'll give you silly money for your Part X," because I was listening to them. They all thought, "Oh, we found a Divo motor dealer." Sometimes their motor cars were better than the one I was selling them. And I used to go again and go and take a nice lump out of their motor car. But I always tried to keep to bread and butter. I try to keep away from lumpy old motors. I used to try, see, with bread and butter motors, you got, say, 80% of the public will buy a bread and butter motor car, a Ford, a Vauxhall, cars like that. Bentleys and Rolls-Royces, Jensens, Interceptors and MGs and all that. There's only 20% of the public are on that car. But I wanted to work on the 80%, which I did. And because it all built up lovely. And then I had a company down in Plumstead, South London, and that was a 20-car lot. And James Hunt, the racing driver, a friend of a friend, was a mate of his, so he let me put his car on my car front to drag all the customers in to have a look at it and take pictures.
You were Downtown Motors?
Yeah, Downtown Motor Company, Herbert Road, Plumstead. That's where I had to walk in with a traffic warden. Look, no disrespect.
I've seen the newspaper report.
Yeah, no disrespect. But she was a castara. She had a beard. She had a big moustache, you know? And I said to her, look, I know you're doing the job, sweetheart, but if you want me to take this car off the road, I'm going to have to move that car off the lot to put that one behind that one. And she said to me, if you take that one off and put it there, I'm going to put a ticket on it. Instant. So I had a car cleaner, because I was a posh car dealer, because I had a car cleaner. But anyway, he was washing the motor cars. And I think this was in November or something. I mean, it was winter time. So I said to him, Bill, I said, come here, mate. I want to borrow your bucket. So he come over. He didn't know what I was talking about. So he come over, give me the bucket, and I slung it over her, the whole caboose. Bang! The icicles were coming up her nose because it was that cold. Yeah, and her foot went everywhere. I said, here, sweetheart, take that, because you're talking to me mental. I'm acting mental. Anyway, phoned the police. The police were bursting their faces because they wanted to laugh. They really, because they got to keep a straight face, and they was really, but they said to this traffic warden, look, the only thing we can do here, we can nick him, but all they nicked me was destroying government property, like the notebook and the pen, because I destroyed it. Yeah, the cleaning of the uniform and all that stupidness. They get nicked on it. And they said to it, if you want to go any further, you'll have to take a private summons out against Mr. Dixon, and you'll have to exchange names and addresses. She didn't want to give me her address. I didn't want it. the dress wouldn't fit me. Anyway, a good friend of mine, Christopher Mitchell, QC, I phoned him up and told him all about it, and I said, will you represent me? He said, John, I don't do magistrates' courts. I'm a QC. He said, but as it's you, I'll come down and do it for you, but I can't wear me robes or me wig or nothing. But he said, don't worry about that. You could hear him in that court 2 streets down the road. Because when he talked in the court used to echo, really. But anyway, he got me up with a fine, etc. I could have gone to prison for 2 years. They could have tried to make an example of me because nobody messes with them traffic wardens, do they? But anyway, I got a fine, as it said in the paper. I was lucky. But having said that, I got letters from all over the country praising me for doing that. And the whole street, Herbert Road, they had a whip round to pay my fine. And I sold over 50 cars that week because of her. And I earned a lot of money. Almost sold the whole car front. And I became a little bit of a celebrity for about 4 weeks. People wanted me autograph, but don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do it again. That was a one-off. She got me, not a bad guy. I don't go around insulting people. That ain't my game. I'd rather give a man £1 than take £1. And there ain't many dealers like that.
Did she leave you alone after that?
Yeah, and all the traffic wardens. None of the traffic wardens have come near me. And some of them come and shook me hand.
I bet the coppers shook your hand as well, didn't they?
Oh, they loved it. They loved it. They literally loved it because they were their face was bursting where they wanted to laugh. But that was a story. I think that went in the Book of Giles where they do all their cartoons. I think they had me in that as well. Yeah, they did have me in that. In that they'd show the motor dealer be on a wall waiting for the traffic warden to come down the road and bang. But anyway, then I went to Dixon Motor Company, 30 car sales, 10 in Albany Road, off the Old Kent Road, next door to the Thomas of Beckett, where all the boxers used to go. I used to slip in there, talk to a few of the boxers and etc. and try and nick a bit of business off of them. But that done well. But the tricks of the motor game, forget the car, you've got to get the people to like you as a person. Because if they don't like you, you've got more chance of going to the moon than selling that car. You might as well walk away. I used to always work on me as a person and them before I get into the car, selling the car. They were good days. There was proper people. Today, I don't know how they're doing it. And then in the 70s, late 70s, 80s, then they bought that, we'll give you £2,000 for your car, regardless of the condition. Do you remember that?
I mean, there was always a value to a car to break it. So there was always a figure, regardless of the condition, depending on the parts.
But they bought that thing out, we'll give you £2,000 for your car, and I'm like, regardless of the... But what they used to do, they used to mark the car up another £2,000.
Oh, the scrappage scheme.
Scrappage scheme, yeah. The scrappage scheme today, years ago, it wasn't called a scrappage scheme. It was just motor dealers giving £2,000 away for the whole car, regardless of the condition. It weren't nothing to do with the scrappage scheme. But what they were doing, they were putting £2,000 extra on the window screen. But then we would have people driving about in cars worth £100, thinking the car's worth £2,000. And they'd come around your car, you'd have a car marked up with £2,500.
Because that's what they give for it.
Yeah, and they'd go, I'll give you £500. My car's worth £2,000. I said, no, mate, that £2,000, I tried to explain to them, it's a scam. You ain't getting £2,000 for your car. The £2,000 is on the window screen. I'll give you a proper price for your car, what it's probably really worth.
I'm sure that you wouldn't have done anything dodgy. But do you have any stories of other dealers that were up to no good with the bodges and the cars? And
I'd never do that, my sweetheart. Never, ever. A million years. What they do, they live with it. But I did once, a policeman come up, he said, John, I want to afford the Capri, but it's got to be a 1600. So I had a 1300 on the car front. So I changed the to a 1.6 on the badge. And I phoned him. I said, I've got that Capris for you, that 1.6 motor. And he's took it. He's drove away. And I love this and that. And he said, John, that motor's a little bit underpowered. I'm going, oh, God. I said, no, it shouldn't be. And he's got me more. I don't know, mate. He said, it takes me 2 minutes to get away from the traffic lights. But anyway, I talked my way around it. He thought it was funny and worked his mouth a bit and kept it. But that was a really funny story. But he could have took me to the cleaners, but he didn't. He felt that being a policeman and all that, he should have known better because it was in the logbook. It's free. But don't give him the logbook. I used to let it come through the post. I'd hold it back so it didn't come back for about 4 weeks. I mean, I used to go to the motor auctions and the old auctioneers down at Brentford, when I bid on a car, they'd go, how do you want to be on this? And they'd look at me and they'd go, bang. They wouldn't talk no more. As soon as I was bidding, they'd go, 3 big bang the hammer and I'll give them a £20 note at the end of the sale. I used to get the motors a bit quicker. And also, before the motors used to go into the auctions, we changed the old plugs over, so it was farting and shitting and everything, smoking. So people, they'd go, oh, fuck that. There wasn't nothing wrong with it. We changed the plugs over. And the other thing about motor dealers in auctions, the public watch you because they know we're motor dealers and we're buying it to go again, so we're earning a profit. So they watch you to make sure that they buy a car. So if say I'm bidding on a vehicle, they will bid against me because they know sometimes we put motors in there that were wrong uns and we'll be bidding on that and they'll be bidding on that because they think we're buying it. But we weren't. We were running them. So we used to catch them that way. That was quite funny. But see, in Brentford, it was a good motor auction. So I used to come all over the place down there. But see, the other thing about cars and that, going back a few years when I didn't have car front, guys still sell cars from outside their house. Take a tip from me. If you're selling a motor car from outside your house, the people that are coming down to buy it will go all over that car before they knock on your door. We call them tyre kickers. Little mark here, little mark there. And so what you got to do, you got to hide the car. Put the car around the corner, just give it to the car, so they've got to knock on the front door. When they knock on the front door, then you can talk to them. So if the car's got a little dent and you know they're coming up to that little dent, you start talking to them. Oh, it's had a new battery and it's had this, and you take them away from that little dent. And that's what I used to do. I always used to park the car up. A guy called Peter Jarvis, he's a big name in Dartford. He does today. I know I can mention him.
Yeah.
He bought his first motor off me in the second-hand game. He sells Rolls-Royces. People go on the Google, Peter Jarvis will come up. But I educated him in the motor game in the early days. He see how much I was earning, but he struck lucky. But he's such a lovely man.
So you were the start of Peter Jarvis trading?
Yeah, when he first started, I bought a Jensen Interceptor off him in the early days. And when we had green logbooks.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Peter Jarvis?
So did you have a motor house in Bromley as well?
Yeah, I had a big showroom down.
Did you prefer the pictures or the showroom?
Showroom, because see, open car fronts, you're vulnerable. If you upset somebody or you sell somebody a car and they're not happy with it, they'll come back and scratch your motors overnight. With a showroom, they're behind glass.
Yeah, plus it's a bit warmer.
What I used to do as well with the people, when we'd have a deal, I'd put £500 on the table. Again, I had a good bit of profit. And I'll say, look, Mr. Bob, take this £500, and if anything goes wrong with the vehicle, a tyre or a light bulb or a battery, anything you want, take it out of my £500, and in 3 months, bring me my £500 back, because I know there's nothing going to go wrong, which gives them confidence, and it gives them a little bit of I don't know, they got a little bit of something, they got £500 of my money, which they love.
Did they ever bring it back?
No, I never see them again. And that was the idea of giving them £500 to get rid of them. Because...
So you built that into the deal?
Yeah, it closes the deal. I never see him again, full stop. And I used to love that. I'd had so much profit in the vehicle that I could do things like that. They could still do it today, things like that.
Have had any proper screamers from that?
Yeah, it ain't, because sometimes I'd have real bad screamers, and I'd see because I always kept the key back. Every car I sold, I kept one of the keys in case I had aggravation. I'd go and nick my motor back. Then back in the 70s, I'd get a few screamers, and then I'd get my mate to go around and take the car when they were asleep and burn it, right? I know I shouldn't say this, but that's what a couple of motor dealers used to do.
It was rife.
Didn't mind, because they knew the man weren't losing because he was insured. And then they'd come back to him to buy another car. They'd phone him up and say, "Oh, my car got stolen last night." And they'd buy another car off of him.
Winner, winner.
Yeah, what a winner, ain't the thing. But I never went down that avenue. I thought, no, I'd rather fix the car. I didn't get the name Honest John for nothing. But if people did come back to me, I would definitely 100% put it right. Providing they weren't taking the piss out of me, because people can change. They're lovely to your face, but as soon as something goes wrong, that's it. They completely change. But I've had Rolls-Royces, etc. There was one instant where every motor dealer, he has his own car, and I used to have a Rolls-Royce. And I bought Sid James's old Rolls-Royce, which is a picture of it up there. And I've done well out of that, sold it to an Arab. I bought this Rolls-Royce, and when I went to register it, I got one of the digits wrong on the chassis. And me being a motor dealer, etc., and they all think motor dealers are wrongers, but we're not. We're probably the most honest people you can come across. And why I say that, because if Joe Public go have their car repaired, the mechanic said to them, "Well, get rid of this, mate. You've got troubles happening." So where does he go? Round to the car front and puts it into us. So we become the bad person. We're not, because the public put them into us. Now, we buy that car off them in good faith, and we sell it in good faith to the new customer, not knowing that it's going to go wrong somewhere down the line. But, you know, them people that slag off motor dealers and that, they shouldn't do that, because we get our cars from people like yourself, the public.
I completely agree. The general public can slot a wrong into us in a Part X.
Yeah.
But we have to then put that car right before it goes out again. We have to stand on for any faults on it. But just to prove a point, how long were you trading on a forecourt or a showroom?
About 30, 40 years.
You wouldn't have been in business for 30, 40 years, customer facing with a showroom and a pitch, if you're having people over, would you? This is the thing that gets me. We all have this reputation, and it's all Del Boy and Arthur Daly. And you say, if you've got traders that have been in business, and second generation traders as well, like myself and like Chris, that are carrying on a family business. But if we weren't doing our job right, we wouldn't still be here, would we?
Exactly. There ain't nobody out there today will give me a bad name. Even today, they all speak very highly of me. Even people who bought cars off me years and years ago speak very highly of me, because I always used to put things right.
Easy life.
Yeah. But back to that mistake I made on that logbook on that Rolls-Royce, the fraud squad at New Scotland Yard thought they was onto a big one. They thought I was ringing Rolls-Royces. They thought they'd hit the jackpot with me, and I was nicking Rolls-Royces, ringing them and reselling them. But I wasn't.
So did you get your collar felt over that?
Nearly. They was watching me. They didn't come down and nick me or anything like that. They was watching me for months to see what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, this guy called Dave Prinian, he's a chief inspector now, but I think he's left the force, come down, and he literally apologised to me. And he said, "We got the wrong impression about you, Mr. Dixon. You're not as bad as everyone's trying to make out." And he said, "I'll shake your hand."
You can't say that.
No, you can't, because everybody, if you say you're an estate agent, people go, "Oh, God." But motor dealers, everybody hates a motor dealer. I don't know why. Everybody's driving about in a car. But if I tell you now, if I was put into a car sales, a new car franchise sale, I'd sell every motor they got. No problem. the strength of my bow, don't sell the car, sell yourself first. Because once you've sold yourself and they bought you as a person and they like you and you've got them to trust you, then you can take them in the office and they're yours.
People buy from people they like.
Exactly.
Yeah, people buy from people they like, always have done. Big change now in today's game, John, is that a lot of people don't actually buy their car. It's just about a monthly payment.
Yeah, leasehold and all that. And people don't realise how much they're paying through the nose.
Yeah.
If I said to somebody, go and rent that car for £200 a week, they'd go, I ain't doing that. The same person will go and lease the car and pay £200 a week. And at the end of that term, you've got to get the car back. Yeah. There's the difference. There ain't no difference. It's all up here in the mind.
John, what's your happiest memories of being a trader?
Earning a dosh, earning a bit of dosh, putting a donut on the table. I've never...
Being filthy rich?
No. I'm the poorest motor dealer in Kent. I'll tell you that now, mate. I'm too honest for my own good. I'd rather have nothing and sleep every night than have £100 million and not sleep, because I like my sleep. Says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But if you could go back to one point in time, when was your favourite time to be a trader?
My friends, it was people with nightclub in Sidcup, Westwood and Georgie Greenway and all that. They won a Rolls-Royce in the raffle. Now, they thought it was me winding them up. They thought I'd set the whole thing up just to get to them. So when they won it, they went and got it, and they come straight down to me and said, go on, John, here's your Rolls-Royce back. We know you're joking. I had nothing to do with it. I should have took it, shouldn't I? I said, yeah, that was me, and whipped it off.
The keys off them.
Yeah. When I was in the car sales, I had a nightclub as well. And when I used to sell a car, I'd go to the people, look, here's a free ticket to my club. Eat, drink, do what you want, as much as you want, on me. Now, they'd always take a friend with them, so I'd nick the money out of them. And they'd always, now when I say go there, I said eat and drink, but people can only drink so much. If I said to somebody in a club, drink a drink, they ain't going to drink a bottle of vodka. A bottle of vodka in them days only cost about £5. I'd like to meet the man that could drink that bottle of vodka and walk out of that club. He ain't gonna. Don't matter what he does. Do you get me? So when you say eat and drink as much as you want.
What was your club called?
Johnny's in Baring Road. We used to use the Astor Club in Vauxhall, round that way. And all the motor dealers used to go there, and I used to go, God, all these motor dealers spending fortunes. So what I did, I opened up my nightclub because I knew all the motor dealers, and they'd all come to me. It was like, and spend with me. And it was great. And that was in the 80s. And I pulled that in about 85. I had it for about 6-7 years. It was a good day.
There's a big crossover in Manchester with the motor trade, clubs and boxing promoters. There was always a big crossover there. Just to finish off, how would you describe being a trader in the 70s? If you had to sum it up in one go, how would you describe it?
I wouldn't change it for all the money in the world. I loved it. I loved every day of it. I loved the excitement of it. I loved the excitement of selling cars. I loved the excitement of losing money, but in a nice way, because I'd make it up in another way in the motor game. I'd earn £1,000 on something, and then I'd lose 500 on another one. Then I'd make it on the other one. At the end of the day, it always come out.
Proper dealing.
Proper dealing, mate. And I class myself as one of the old school motor dealers, and there ain't many of us left. And I am a proper motor dealer. And all my mates always used to say to me, John, you are the best motor dealer in South East London. And I was proud of that.
Honest John.
Honest John.
I really hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And huge thanks once again to John and his son Chris for getting in touch. If you'd like to come on the podcast or know somebody with a story to tell, please do let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Please subscribe, leave me a review and share it with anyone who you think would like it too. It really helps independent podcasts like mine to grow. For the chance to win a superb classic car, use code SAM15 for 15% off at vintage and classic car competitions. And you can use code SAM10 for 10% off Dodo Juice car care products. All the links are in the show notes below. Please do give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and YouTube. I'm at The Old Car Lady. And to get involved, please join the Old Car Lady Classic Car Community group on Facebook for more insider information and giveaways. Don't forget to check out earlier episodes and do join me next week for more motor trade chat. So until next time, happy motoring.